thank you everybody for coming. We call this our Diplomat download. And what this is best practices that we have found. Pam Van Pelt was Strickler agency. I bet.
Yes.
But has worked on the committee for many years and she has some best practices that she's used when she's been making her calls. So we just asked her to share with you guys. We are videotaping this, but he's going to be editing it. So we're just having open conversation today. Don't worry, we're totally, we like Craig, but we're ignoring that he's here. Okay, so.
Well, again, thank you all for coming today. I'm going to share with you the things that I've worked with when I've done calls over the years. So I thought maybe what I would start with is when you actually have your membership meeting and you all get packets that show who the members are that are coming up for renewal. First thing that I would say is when you're looking at this list, make sure that you're not taking more than you can actually do for the month, because we all have a tendency to think that we can do more than we actually can because we're juggling working too with this committee. So be cognizant of the fact that if you really think you can only do 4 or 5, then don't take 10, because you're taking away from other members. And hopefully the membership committee has enough people that can be spread out evenly. So when you get these, then you realize you get a copy of this form. And when you look at this form, there's a couple things you want to look at. First and foremost, you want to see who your primary contact is. So if you look on the sample chamber here, you see that Michelle is the primary contact. I typically, and I know everybody does it differently, so what I'm telling you today is just what I do. I typically do emails because almost all of these contacts are going to have an email address. And when I send this out, I want to first of all do this shortly after the meeting, because again, we all get busy and the next thing you know, a whole month has gone by and now you've got 6 calls to make in a week. So it's always good to at least get your appointment set as soon as you can after the meeting. So what we've given you are some samples of some emails that I've done. Usually I start out with an opening email saying who I am and what I'm looking for, and then I give them actual dates of the next 2 weeks. I'll say these are my dates of availability when I can stop by. Usually I'll tell them how long I think the meeting is going to be. I have found this to be more successful than sending an email saying, hey, I'd like to meet with you, can you give me some dates? Everybody's busy, so if they have some dates to choose from, 9 times out of 10 you're going to get an appointment with that first email. Sometimes it happens that you get no response at all, and when that happens, usually I'll follow up with a second email. Just, hey, just wanted to touch base with you again, give them some more available dates. If I don't hear from them again, then usually I'll either try and call, or sometimes I'll just close it out with an email saying I'm going to turn your paperwork back to Donna, but if you have any questions, certainly reach out to Donna, and I even sometimes will give Donna's email address so that they know that they can reach out to her. Usually that will prompt a response from a member then. They'll say, I'm really sorry, I've been very busy, but I really appreciate you reaching out to me. Purpose of this is that we just want to let our members know that we care what they have to say, that we want to have a face-to-face if possible, and we try and do that at least 1 time every year. Purpose being obviously to remind them of some of the chamber benefits, because there are many of them, but the other thing is to get feedback from them. Most people are not going to say if they're unhappy about something or if they have an idea about something unless you're in a one-on-one environment, and then people feel more free to open up about what they might be thinking. So it's a great opportunity for us to really gain insight into what our members are thinking. I did put at the top of my packet here, I probably don't need to say this, but many of us are in sales, and of course we all want to increase our sales, but this is not the time to promote your business or your services or whatever product you're selling. This is really the time to try and get as much engagement from that member as you can. So that being said, we'll just move on to the next. So the other thing you want to look at when you're looking at this sheet is when did they actually join, and that shows about halfway down the first page. And the reason you need to know when they joined is there are 3 different questionnaires that you need to pull from when you go to do this visit. So once you have your appointment set, the next thing you do then is you want to find out which questionnaire you need. I recommend that you print that out at that time, because I have done this, and all these things are things I have done wrong, so that's why I'm giving you the benefit of what I've done wrong before. But when you go out on a call and you have only this sheet, and you go, oh man, I didn't print out that stuff before I left. So it's always good, once you have your appointment set, get all your forms together at that time, paperclip them together, so when you're ready to go out the door for your appointment, you have everything that you need. The 3 different forms, I think, Donna, are they in that packet?
They are.
So there's the one that is 0 to 6 months. So for new members, the questions are going to be a little bit different than they are for the 1 year to 5 year and then 5+ years. There's not a lot of difference, but there are some differences between the forms. So that's my recommendation. Print that out. All of those items are available to you on the Chamber website. And have you all been on the Chamber website under the member resources? Okay, so you know that you can go in there and you can print those forms at any time. And Donna keeps those forms updated because from time to time we do change the forms. So always go in there to get them printed. I have actually printed off a supply of like the Chamber Plus flyers, or you know the I forget what the energy company, Connect. Those forms, because they really don't change that much, so you can probably print those out and just grab them as you need them. I put a list of all of the different attachments that I leave behind, and I'm not going to go down through each one of these, but I do just want to stress a couple of things. One of the things that I have found really helpful when you're out talking to people is advertising. You know, everyone wants to promote their business, that's why they're part of the Chamber. So it's nice to leave behind the advertising opportunities and information sheet, because not only does it say how you can promote your business, but it also lists the fees associated with it. So that's a really good thing to just kind of remind people of the different ways they can promote their business through the Chamber. The other thing I wanted to point out is the CAPA. That's an organization that meets monthly, and because most of our members are small businesses who don't have a separate HR department, I always try and really emphasize this group, because they do have some very good topics, and if you have somebody who's wearing a lot of different hats, HR is probably not the strongest of those hats, so it's a really good group to get involved in. So then they have people that they can bounce problems off of or whatever. So I always really promote that as well. Chamber mobile app, if you have older members, or I shouldn't say older members, members who have been with the organization for a long time, then you may get questions sometimes about the key card program. We used to give the little key cards you put on your key ring, and you know, you could go into a local business and get a discount. That is no longer available. So when I go out, I often get my phone out and I'll show them the Chamber app. You can download it from the App Store, no cost. And so I kind of show them that, and then even open it up because it'll show the hot deals, so that they know that they should share that information with all of their employees, because it's not just the contact you're talking to, all of their employees have access to that as well. So you want to make sure that you show them how easy that is to do. There is a flyer too, and I suggest sometimes they put that on the bulletin board in their lunchroom so that everybody becomes aware of it.
The mobile app is going to be increasingly important too, because we will be able to do push notifications now with our app. So if you're signed up for an event, we can remind you that that event's coming up. If you, that's good, a new feature. And so if you sign up as part of the Kappa group, so you know, you'll get an email once a month saying, hey, don't forget Kappa is this week and here's the topic. So getting people to download that is critical.
Good. All right, the other thing that I do before I actually go out is I usually go online and look at their website or their Facebook page just to learn a little bit about their business before you go out. It only takes 5 minutes and just gives you a glimpse as to what their business is all about. Shows that you care about them, which we should care about all of our members. So, And then when you actually do the actual visit, you obviously take this sheet with you, along with all of your handouts that you have. You're going to want to go down through the page and just kind of update information as needed. One of the things that I always pay attention to is the description down below. If you have a member who does not have a description in there, you want to talk to them about why that's important. This is a way that they can give more information about their business through the Chamber website. So we encourage them to fill that in. They can do that themselves. However, if you get any kind of pushback that, you know, I don't want to fool with that, just get the information, bring it back, and somebody will input that for them. The other thing I've done in the past is I've helped them if they haven't been on the site. You know, if they have their log-on information, I'll help them. I'll walk them through the steps of how you go in and edit that. So if you haven't done that, get familiar with how to do that so you can assist them through that process. Keywords are an important part. Now the Chamber has an enhanced version. Most of your sheets are going to show how many characters you have available for the information in these spaces. Then you're going to flip over to the next page and you want to go down through the list of contacts that we have on here and update them if needed. The other thing that I ask at that time would be, do you have anybody else in your organization that would like to receive a Tuesday's teaser? Because we can easily add that. So if they say, yes, I think we have a couple other people that should get that, all you need to get is their contact information and their email. We'll get them added to the list. And that reaches a lot of people, so I think it's it's just something good to go over with them. If when you're doing your questionnaire then, you know, as I said, you have to choose which questionnaire that you're doing. You want to gather as much information as you can. And sometimes you get out on a visit where you have somebody who doesn't really want to elaborate on things. And if you've had any kind of sales training, you know, you ask open-ended questions, not just questions where it's a yes or no. So one of the things that I always try and get as much feedback as I can is educational programs, because I think that's a big benefit to all of our members. And sometimes people will just like, well, you know, I don't know, I can't really think of anything. So a lot of times I'll offer suggestions. Well, as some of our members have said, you know, they'd really like to know how to market through social media, or, you know, maybe somebody wants some additional training on Excel spreadsheets or whatever it may be. But throw out some different ideas, and that oftentimes generates discussion then. So that's been very helpful, I think. And then, of course, I always ask about, you know, how would you like to have it on videotape if you can't go to one of these meetings? So, then this is my punishment for saying that. So.
We finally did it.
Yes.
Yeah, I get a lot of response too with that. That's like, oh, I know they do so much already. And then I say, well, what do you like? Like, what is it that interests you? Even if it's something that's already done, it's good to know.
It is, absolutely, absolutely. And the other part. The other part that we always ask is, you know, if you do have something, you know, maybe you are interested in social media marketing, when's the best time of the day that would work for you? And then that always generated the, okay, if none of these, because a lot of times you're calling on businesses where there isn't anybody else. They are the business, so they can't break away and take 2 hours in the middle of the day. So then I would ask the question about, well, if it was available on video, in a video format, would you be interested in one? And absolutely, everybody's interested in that. So it's just good to have the discussion, try and get feedback from them on any situation. There are very rare instances where you will come across someone who is angry or upset about something. And I can tell you in all the years I've done this, and it's been a really long time, I can only count 2 people that I've ever had that happen. But occasionally you will run into that. So your job is to listen, let them vent, you know, don't be defensive in any way, let them vent because they obviously have a legitimate beef or they think they have a legitimate beef. Then when you get back to the office, you want to get in touch with Donna immediately. Do not let something like that wait until your next meeting, because she can't do anything about it if she doesn't know about it. And a lot of times all it takes is Donna reaching out and offering, you know, whatever it is that they want. She can, in many cases, take care of that and make that member go from being unhappy to happy, and that's what we want. So Another thing I don't typically do is if I have had a situation like that, when it's time to go around the table and talk about it, I don't really spend a lot of time talking about that because Donna has already taken care of it, so just for what it's worth. The other thing I like to do,
That's okay.
sorry about that.
No problem.
The other thing I like to do is take a list of the different committees within the chamber. Particularly with new members, you want to try and get them involved if possible. So when you talk to them about committees and they say, well, what kind of committees are there? It's great to have that leave behind. So you can say, I'm on the membership committee, these are the things that we do, it's a great committee to be involved in, but here's some other committees that you might be interested in. That's, I think, a good resource too to leave behind. I also try and talk about any upcoming events. If you know there's something coming in the next week or two, you want to just give them a reminder and gauge the interest there. If you think maybe they would come, but they're a little hesitant because they don't want to come by themselves, offer to meet them there. Or, if you're not able to, find another committee member that could maybe meet them and just be with them that first event. Because that's tough when you're coming in to an organization and you don't really know anybody. It's a little intimidating. So it's our job to try and make that as painless as possible for them to get involved with the chamber. The women to women events held at the vault typically. I know we all see the flyers. If you're calling on a business, just take a couple of those flyers about the next one and leave that behind and have them offer that to all of their employees as well. Another thing that when you're calling on nonprofits, this has come up several times when I've done calls where they say, I would like to be involved in something that really is unique to nonprofits. We actually do have periodic roundtable meetings for nonprofits. So if you get interest from a nonprofit in that, I think most of them probably are involved in it, but just shoot an email to Donna and say, can you add them to the list so that the next time the invitations go out, they're going to get one. And I think they're held quarterly. The other thing that I always really stress is if you have told them you're going to get them something, whether it's log-on information, whether it's a piece of information they're looking for, be very responsive. Try and get that to them as soon as possible because that meeting is fresh in their mind at that time. So follow-up is critical to do that as quickly as you can. And the other thing that I think is a nice gesture, it's not mandatory, but after you have had your meeting, send a quick little, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciated meeting you. If you have any questions or if it's anything that I can do to help you, please don't hesitate to reach out. It's just a really nice little wrap-up gesture, I think. So once you've done that, you've gathered all your information, you're back in your office, you want to take your questionnaire and make sure that it's totally complete because it's a lot easier to do it right after you get back from your visit than 2 days before the meeting and you can't quite remember what you said. It's best to just get all of that finished at the time you get back to your office. And then of course you're all familiar now because I think you've all been to membership meetings where at the meeting then you go around the table and you talk about all the different visits that you had. That's the place to report any feedback about specific programs that they may want to have for educational purposes and any other comments. And I guess that's just about it. I think, most of all, just enjoy this. This is a great committee. You will meet a lot of really wonderful people. I know I have over the years. I would still be involved if I was not retiring because I do really believe it's a wonderful committee and the Chamber is a wonderful organization. So congratulations to all of you for being on the committee and I hope you're on for many, many years.